Hi, this is Monte Tilgner with the Iowa High School Athletic Association. This will be plays from week 7 to make up this training tape. We had a good week overall, a lot of good plays to take a look at. First thing I want to address is a play that I had on last week's training tape because I had several questions about it. And the question was, should this be a PSK foul because the hold actually occurs behind the line of scrimmage? And in the PSK rules, it says that the foul has to be by Team R uh, and it has to be beyond the line of scrimmage. And this is really a philosophical question, but I've checked with two other states as well as ours, and really everyone wants this, states want this to be a PSK foul. This is not one that is like a pull and shoot or a roughing the holder or the kicker, the snapper, something like that. That those are going to be previous spot fouls. But basically, any hold that we have, or could be a face mask or something like that, even if it occurs a little bit behind the line of scrimmage, if they're not trying to block that kick and that's why we have the hold, then make it PSK. And that is something that is wanted. The PSK rule was put into play a long time ago, kind of with the the point of it was that Team K is saying we want to give up the ball. We're going to give up the ball and punt it. So therefore, Team R has the option to keep the ball if they have their penalty enforced, unless it is one of those special fouls like a roughing or a hold that occurs with somebody who's trying to block that kick. So this is the play. If you remember from last week, we got a good call of a hold by our umpire. It's going to be on these players right here. You can see technically they are a few yards behind the line of scrimmage. But if I go back, this is not a hold against a player who's trying to block that kick. So therefore, we want to make it PSK. All right. So just clarify that. Like I said, I had several people reach out and say that, you sure this shouldn't be the previous spot because the foul occurred behind the line of scrimmage. And I knew what our philosophy is in college, and I was rather certain that they wanted the same philosophy in high school. And like I said, checked. Jared and I talked about it and checked with two other states, and they're all saying the same thing, which is yes, make it PSK. All right, moving on. Couple of onside kick plays here. And first of all, as I have right here, we always need to be thinking about an onside kick and what they have to do as far as formation, blocks, and touching, and so on. So therefore, when they do one that's a surprise, maybe to the other team, as officials, we are not surprised because if we're thinking about it every time, then we will be able to handle it better. So first off here, you notice the back judge, he ran over and then he ran back to the 35, and he's making sure that they all stay behind the 35 or in front of the 35. Sorry, and it's more once you get back there, just go back up to the 40 and don't let your referee blow in. Don't raise your hand and let the referee blow this play in until you're back up at the 40. Because look what happens here. These guys decide to make a muddle huddle, and this ball's already been kicked. It's already been kicked right there. So, couple things. We want our B to be at the 40, so you can see if anyone would encroach. Okay. And after that, what we're looking for, the back judge should be looking for blocks that occur by Team K before that ball goes 10 yards. And the umpire, who's here at the 50-yard line, should be focused on if Team K first touches the ball before the ball goes 10 yards. So those are the two things that we got to think about. Before that ever happens, what we need to think about is this right here. Did they have four players on each side of the kicker? Only the referee is going to have that angle to see that. I don't think they did. If I go back a little bit, it certainly doesn't look like they probably have four guys on this side of this guy who just kicked this ball. So I don't think they have four guys. That would be a foul right there. Remember, if you notice that, referee, that is a dead ball foul. Okay. But so now next is things get pretty interesting because these dribbler kicks, a couple things about them. Remember, sometimes they'll run into the ball as they're running by it. The ball will end up behind them quite often. And this is, I've never seen this before. What they did was they formed kind of a wall just at the 50 right here. They kind of come in and put their backs here and try not to let any return team players come through to be able to get to that ball before that ball gets to 50 to the 50-yard line and goes 10 yards. So, um, this a lot of discussion with the crew involved here, and I again did talk with Jared about that. They talked about it in the office and a couple other states as well. Um, Here's the definition of blocking. Blocking is obstructing an opponent by contacting him with any part of the blocker's body. So it does not say that to be blocking, the blocking has to be initiated by contacting the opponent. It just says obstructing the opponent with contact. The blocker does not have to initiate it. He can he can obstruct, and there has to be contact. That contact could be from the other player. And that's what happens here. So especially by the player that I point out with the arrow here. So this player right here is going to turn his back and he's going to back up to about the 51-yard line. And obviously the other 49, and he's going to block that guy from being able to come and recover that ball because the ball's back here still between at about 9 yards. So they're trying to form a wall there and let that ball get, and you can see it's still not there. Once that ball gets to the 50, boom, they jump on it. So they have walled off this guy. They also prevented another guy from getting to the ball, so they obstructed him, and there was contact, and therefore that is a foul by the kicking team. So some things to think about here is um, if it was ruled that Team K did not touch the ball before it went 10 yards and they did recover the ball, if that was the case, they are in legal possession. So, but we do have a penalty. But if they're in legal possession of that ball, then the only possibility to advance or to enforce that penalty is the previous spot and re-kick. Now, if Team R had recovered the ball, then the 10-yard penalty by Team K could be enforced from the dead ball spot. And we would move it up 10 yards and Team R would snap it from there. Okay, so that's our first onside kick play. Here comes our second one, another surprise onside kick, handled very well by this crew. All right, so we're going to have another dribbler. And remember, often players will end up in front of the ball. So when that happens, sometimes they touch the ball. And we have seen this in the college game multiple times. The kicker does it, he dribbles it, and he actually, when he's running forward, touches the ball again or kicks it again accidentally. And that would not be an illegal kick because he doesn't intentionally kick it. However, he touches it, and therefore that would be first touching. So watch closely. The kicker is going to kick the ball, and then right about 2 yards, 2 to 3 yards in advance of that, he is going to accidentally kick the ball again. I'll go in slow motion. There's the first kick. Boom. There was the second one. Go back, as you can see. First kick, and now he's trying to get there, and then he kicks the ball again unintentionally, which then kicks that ball a lot faster down. Okay, so a couple things. When we see an onside kick, back judge, stay on the sideline. Do not move. Just stay there and have your eyes. Oops, sorry. Stay there and have your eyes looking for those early blocks. Umpire, do not move. Stay there and have your eyes looking for touching, first touching. So we continue with this. You can see we do not have this ball. We don't have blocking before the ball goes 10 yards. And now what happens is a team K player does possess this ball. So you can see our umpire is tossing a bag toward that first touching spot. And in this case, because they first touched that ball before it went 10 yards, they are not in legal possession. Okay. We did not have an accepted penalty, so Team K can take the ball at the spot of first touching. So they would really get this ball at the 43-yard line, and it would be Team um, R's ball. That's an incorrect statement. Sorry, right there. I'm going to change that right now. Team R can take the ball at the spot of first touching. Okay, so K touched it, first touching. R can take it at that spot. Now, it's important to know that we cannot enforce a penalty from the spot of first touching. Team K fouls during a kick play can be enforced only from the dead ball spot or the previous spot. However, sometimes Team K will possess the ball where they first touch it, and that is then the first touching spot. It's also the dead ball spot. So then they could enforce a penalty from the dead ball spot. It just happens to be the spot of first touching as well. So handled really well by the crew. Nice job. Okay, a couple of things to hopefully help us get a great understanding of this forward fumble out of bounds rule. Again, remember, the name tells you everything. Forward fumble out of bounds. So first of all, it's got to be a fumble. It's got to go forward, and it's got to go out of bounds. If all those things don't happen, or if it's not a fumble, then we don't apply the rule. So this is a backward pass. A backward pass is not a fumble. Thus, the forward fumble rule does not apply. This was appropriately snapped at the out of bounds spot by the crew. So let's take a look. Here's our backward pass coming right here. Okay, you can see definitely a backward pass. Okay, and then this ball is muffed and it goes forward out of bounds. And you can see our headline judge comes up and he's going to spot the ball correctly where that ball went out of bounds. So great job understanding that rule and knowing that that is not a forward fumble out of bounds. Now we've got a kickoff and we got a muff, which also is not a fumble. And again, the ball goes forward and it does go out of bounds, but it was not a fumble, and therefore we do not have a forward fumble out of bounds. Good positioning and winding the clock by the headline judge here. The ball is muffed by R, went out of bounds, whether forward or backward, it wouldn't matter. The R will snap the ball from that out of bounds spot. And again, since R touched the ball in bounds, it's not a free kick out of bounds. So go back and go in slow motion here. You can see this kid muffs the ball and it goes forward out of bounds. Wouldn't matter if it went forward or backwards. They're going to snap the ball from that out of bounds spot. So went out of bounds at the 5. So we're going to bring that ball into at the 5-yard line, position 5, and it's going to be first down and 10 for the receiving team. Okay, a couple plays here with our illegal personal contact against the defensive player. So this is about as tight as it gets. So when does a defensive player become a runner? And we have to know that because if we've determined he has become a runner, then he is not defenseless, and therefore we cannot have the illegal personal contact against the defenseless player anymore because he's not defenseless, he's a runner. So here's what to think about. If this hit knocks the ball loose and you would rule it incomplete, you're saying he had not established himself as a runner. You ruled it incomplete, therefore he is defenseless, and you would have a flag down for a defenseless hit against a defenseless player. If they hit that player and they knock the ball loose and you rule it a fumble, then you're saying he is no longer defenseless, he is a runner, and therefore we have a catch and we have a fumble that could be recovered and advanced by either team. So that's what to think about when you're trying to decide if you have a flag for hit against a defenseless player. And remember our catchphrase, when in doubt, wipe it out. So always apply that and then process what you need to about the hit. So let's take a look at the play here. You can see we're going to have, do we have a catch or not? We definitely have a big hit. And this um, this player, um, in my opinion, what we want to do, if he would have dropped this ball, I just don't think we have the element of time in there to make this um, a completed catch with our catchphrase, when in doubt, wipe it out. I don't think we have the element of time in there to make that guy a runner. Therefore, we are considering him defenseless, even though he completed the catch. He was defenseless player when he was hit, so we would want to foul. We would want to flag down. They did flag it, which I agree with. Um, and you can see the coaches, we're still getting a better grasp of that rule. Hopefully, we're getting a better understanding of it, as coaches as well. I think the officials were doing a much better job. Here's another one, another correct call for illegal personal contact against the defenseless player. Again, the coaches didn't like it, but this is textbook per Rule 943P and 232.16B. So let's take a look here. You can see we're going to have, again, a very forcible contact against this player, and he does catch the ball. All right. So just because he made the catch doesn't mean he's not defenseless. There's no way we could say this guy's a runner yet. He hasn't even come down yet when he gets hit. So whether he catches it or not, we would have a flag for illegal personal contact. Now, great to have two flags. Again, this is a catch. Therefore, we're going to go half the distance to the goal, and they already achieved the first down on the catch. So we're doing a better job as officials of getting this rule and applying it properly. Hopefully the coaches will start understanding it better and tell their kids, you can hit them as hard as you want as long as you wrap up. But if you don't wrap up and that guy is not definitely a runner, then we might have this foul for illegal personal contact against the defenseless player. Okay, formation foul. So when do we warn? How do we warn, and so on? So the rule 232.9 says a lineman is any player who's facing his opponent's goal line with the line of his shoulders approximately parallel thereto, and with his head or foot breaking the imaginary plane drawn parallel to the line of scrimmage through the waist of the snapper when the ball is snapped. Okay, we don't have the greatest angle, but it's pretty easy to see this one, that there is no way that this guy's head is breaking the waistline of this snapper. So I don't think this one is even in the warn zone. If we have not warned them yet, and it's egregious enough like this, it's a flag first time. Okay. If this player will be up maybe 6 inches, 8 inches forward, then he might be in what we call the warn zone. And if he is, then we can warn them. We make sure that that player knows he needs to get up on the line of scrimmage more, and we need to make sure that the head coach knows he has been warned. And we only warn them once. So next time this team on offense has any player who is not up on the line of scrimmage, it would be a foul. Okay, so that's how you handle warnings. And remember, you don't have to have a warn if it's egregious the very first time. Okay, a couple holding plays here. This first one, this is one we got to get. We got to get big holds. We want them to be big. We want a very high threshold for our holds. This is the player we're going to be looking at. Okay, now referees, you've got both tackles, right? You got your look through to your left tackle. You also got your right tackle. So you got to make a judgment of which one's a bigger threat to foul. And if you're taking a look, quick look at your left tackle, you can see he's in good shape here. This guy's trying to spin. He's in front of him. We're good. This guy is already beat on the edge. So when they're beat, they have the tendency to cheat. So they grab them. And in this case, we would need to see this action here. And let's just take a look. Just grabs and basically almost throws the guy down to the ground. So my next comment is here just about our headline judge. We do get to the line to gain, but let's release at the snap and let's go a little quicker and make sure that we're there in plenty of time. But that's a hold we need to get. We have a pass that ends up being incomplete. This was a 3rd and 8 play. So common sense, make sure you ask the coach, but there's a good chance that they're going to want to decline this and go to 4th and 8 since they are not in field goal range. But you want to ask the question on this particular one because you have a third down play. Okay, same game. A couple of really good jobs of not throwing for a hold, just not big enough. And even though players went to the ground on these, and then a good job by our headline judge of getting that line of gain right away and then letting that play get to you and then get past you and then trail it. So you can see we have third and about 1.5. Watch our headline judge at the snap. He immediately steps to the line of gain right there. Boom, that's what he did. And we got both of them, our headline judge and our line judge, are getting to that line to gain. Our eyes should be, first of all, let's watch this block here by, I think it's number 22. Let's just focus on that block. So he gets this kid here, and then he ends up on the side, and he just drives him. And again, he drives him down to the ground, but he does not grab and restrict. He doesn't grab and snatch him down. He just is riding him and overpowering him down to the ground. That is not a foul. That is not a flag for a hold that we want. Our second one is going to be on this player right here. Who should see this one? Should be our back judge, should be all over this one. So again, legal block from the side, and he just continues to drive, and they both end up toppling over the top of other guys who are on the ground. We know that's not a chop block. So again, guys on the ground, we need to know how they got there, but that's not a foul. Good job, headline judge, letting that play get past you and then trailing it. That's what we want to see. Nice work. Okay, we don't see this very often, but hurdling. This is a hurdle in this play. Rule 222 and 943D. Hurling is an attempt by a player to jump or hurdle with one or more feet or knees foremost over an opponent who is contacting the ground with no part of his body other than one, except for one or both feet. So if they have their knee on the ground, you can hurdle, okay? But if they don't have any part of their body but one or both feet on the ground, you cannot hurdle. So let's take a look. There he goes. We'll go back and we'll stop it here. First of all, we got our guy going low. We know he can go low and try to make the tackle. He's not, he's crouching, okay? But he doesn't have his knees on the ground. Hands are not on the ground. After that, he loses his balance, and now his hands go on the ground, but he's already been hurdled at this point. So the player, it's interesting, he knows the rule. He gets up and he's like, hey, that's a flag. He can't do that. One of the coaches down here, he knows they can't hurdle. So it's one that we want to get. The referee thought that the guy might have had a knee on the ground, therefore he didn't flag it. That's a judgment you got to make. But again, enforcement here. This is a foul by the offense behind the basic spot. And the basic spot's the previous spot since the run ended behind the line of scrimmage. So this is enforced from the previous spot per the new previous spot rules put into place in 2023. So back to position 5 and 10 yards back from the positive 28 to the negative 20, or the positive 28 to the positive 38. And we would repeat second down because we had a run that ended in bounds. We would be on the snap. Okay, this is excellent mechanics. We got third down, and it looks like a long 5, maybe 6 on this play. And just right away at the snap, right away at the snap, we release our headline judge and our line judge at the bottom. You can see both of them are getting to that line to gain. Our headline judge is already there. Our line judge is on his way. And we're sitting there stationary, and we can get a great look and see if this guy makes the line to gain. And you can see now our headline judge has made his ruling. He's just starting to come in and kill the clock. So that's exactly what we want. Third down flow, fourth down go. Get to that line to gain, beat the runner and the ball to that spot. Okay, we haven't had a lot of these, but this is a very good call for offensive pass interference, pushing off and creating separation. Okay, so taking a look here. First of all, kind of where people are looking. Line judge, it looks to me like your eyes might be in the backfield. You don't need to be looking at this action here with all this space, even though this technically is your guy. Since there's so much space here, get your eyes and help out on the action right here. So the back judge is going to be down on this action as well. Remember, headline judge, a lot of times you're going to get one or two receivers all by yourself. So this is going to be where our push off is going to happen right here. Put it in motion. You can see a big push off, knocks the guy down, creates separation. Okay. And it doesn't matter if that ball is catchable or not. This is offensive pass interference and one that we would want called. So remember, our penalty enforcement offensive pass interference is 15 yards from the previous spot. It was first down, so we're going to repeat first down. So we're going to go from, it looks like the negative 40, or the positive 40, back to the negative 45 snap and on the snap and from position 5. Okay, another one of these. Just remember, if they pick them up and they throw them down, it's a foul. We need to call it. We need to flag it. This is a huge safety concern. Coaches, please tell your players not to do this. We're going to get somebody hurt pretty bad at some point here. You can see, again, no reason. They pick him up and they throw him down kind of on his head again, which is very dangerous. And then you can see the flags are going to come raining in. Back judge and referees' flags cross each other. Umpires got a flag as well. So good job of getting this penalty. Coaches, you don't do tackling drills where you say we're going to pick our guys up and we're going to body slam them on their head. We're going to body slam them on their back. You don't do tackling drills like that because it's not tackling. That's a foul, and hopefully it gets called every time we see it. All right, another forward handing on a kickoff. Nice job of catching this by the crew. So you can see they're going to get together here for this little muddle huddle, and they're going to hand this ball off. The player I've circled is the one who's going to get the handoff. You can see he's going to be in front of the guy who has the ball, and that is our definition of forward handing. Here he comes off, and there comes our flag by our referee and by our line judge. This is a foul that since it's during a running play, we're going to enforce from the spot of the foul. So that'd be about the 8-yard line, position 2, and it's going to be half the distance. So we go from the 8 to the 4. And then we have a legal kick play, so we would be on the snap. All right. A lot of good plays again, a lot of good officiating going on. Nice job. In 2 weeks, we've got our first round of playoffs for the smaller schools, and then 3 weeks from now, everybody's going to be in the playoffs. So keep working hard. Good luck. Hopefully you get a game in the postseason. If not, work hard for next year, but keep putting in time and enjoy the last few weeks that you have. We will talk to you again next week.